Hey guys, thanks for checking out the channel. Hit the like button if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, remember to hit that bell for notifications for when we drop new videos. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Boogeyman Radio. David here.
I'm Charlie.
Not that we really have to introduce ourselves
No.
anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, 21 shows in, we should be good by now, right?
Oh, yeah, but still, I like it. It's part of it.
And our names are right there, too.
True. Everybody knows it.
Remember it,
Okay.
write it down.
Jeez.
So tonight we're going to be talking about some exorcisms.
Mm.
Just jump right in on that.
Yeah, might as well.
I mean, yeah.
How was, you got a couple conferences coming up, don't you? You got a conference coming up soon?
I actually had to cancel the Midwest one.
No.
Yeah.
Dave. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I know it was gonna be it's supposed to have been a big one, but I had to cancel it with good reason.
All right. That's
But I am going to be doing one in September.
Ah,
That is going to be a kind of like a fundraiser.
okay.
It's going to be at. Let me pull up that information real quick because I have it right here somewhere. People
No, I
post-
mean, might as well talk about it. Get it out there.
It's called Fall Into the Supernatural. It's in
I like that.
Lexington, Missouri. It's going to be at the Big River Ranch. There's a gnat flying around here. And it's
Where
trying
is
to-
that? I'm from Missouri, and I don't even know where Lexington, Missouri is.
Lexington. It's near Kansas City. Do you know where the Ray County Museum is?
Negative.
Charles.
I don't even know where Ray County is.
Do you know where Richmond, Missouri is?
Yes.
Okay, it's probably about 10 minutes southeast of Richmond, across the Missouri River.
Okay. That tells me a lot. Thank you. It's bad. I don't know much about. I don't know a lot of like specific key locations of Missouri. A lot of places really, but that's all right.
It's just east of Kansas City, about an hour east.
Oh, that's not bad. Lexington. I feel like I've been there before, but geez, I can't piece it together.
Maybe you have in another life.
Maybe. I mean, but Lexington is one of those popular names throughout history, so it's just like,
That's true too.
how is it clicking notes because of that, or is it because I've actually been there or not? I'm trying to think what might have been there or what I might have gone there for. Keep thinking band, but I don't think so. Anyways,
I need to check something because something doesn't seem right.
like,
Okay.
something doesn't seem.
I had to check on the YouTube channel because I was closing out the description stuff for it, and it was showing like record only. I'm like, no, that can't be right. We're good.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
That'd be really weird. No, I get that. I get it. Totally understand.
But yeah, Fall into the Supernatural. It's a conference with a lot of variety. I mean, it's got speakers on everything from uh, uh, Bigfoot, UFOs,
Nice.
the stuff that I'm doing. Tony Pickman will be speaking there. Katie Stafford. Um, there's going to be the Arc Halo Vampire crew
Nice.
speaking on modern day vampires there.
Because that's a thing.
Yeah, modern day vampires. It is absolutely a thing. It's like energy vampires, probably the way they're doing it.
That makes more sense. I totally understand.
Yeah.
But the typical
Now there are people that do drink blood.
Yeah, no, that is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bram Stoker.
Oh yeah.
Vampire, just nope.
And then let's see who else was going to be there. Terry Mosby is going to be speaking on UFOs.
Maybe I could have sworn there was Is it? I wonder if it's a big spot for haunted houses, because I could have sworn there might have been a couple like haunted houses and like attractions, not historically haunted houses.
Are you talking about Lexington?
Yeah, because I swear Anyways, it just sounds so familiar that I've wanted to go to Lexington before, but maybe it's the conference.
Well, see, at Big River Ranch, they've had the Paranormal Roundup there. The Paranormal Roundup conference.
I'm sure. I wonder if Denise has talked about it before, and so I was just like,
probably
ingrained in the back of my mind.
So anyway, this event, all the proceeds for this event go to benefit the Ray County Museum. And then after, of course, the event, there will be investigations at the Ray County Museum, which I will be a part of. If you want to join me on an investigation, you can. They've got an Eventbrite. Just look up "Fall into the Supernatural" on Eventbrite. You can get tickets for the event. Tickets to enter the event's $20, and then tickets for the investigation at the museum are only $75. Now, again, all proceeds, 100% of the proceeds, go to the Ray County Museum, just because of last year when COVID hit, they had to close down the museum and stuff, so they lost a bunch of money or something.
Yeah,
and with all these rumors of lockdowns and stuff like that coming up again, they're afraid they're going to end up having to close down again. So they want to be able to take care of the place while it's closed down.
Yeah.
Also, the Paranormal Task Force will be there. Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast will be there. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Please tell me they drink, because that would be excellent.
Blondes and Booze.
Yeah, that's a genius name. Whether it's booze as in spooky or booze as in actual booze.
Yeah, it's booze as in boo.
Oh, okay. Well, either way.
Right. But yeah, it's gonna be a good event. I've been up there. The place is nice. You can go up there. You can camp. The $20 also covers if you want to camp there. You get a campsite. Boom.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I think I'm going to be up there on September 10th. I better tell you guys when the event is. Yeah, September 10th.
Like a good idea.
September 10th through the September 12th. I think on the 10th they're going to do a big bonfire and we're all going to just tell stories. That'll
be awesome.
Yeah.
So is it a bigger size town, medium? What are we talking here? Do you know?
It's between small and medium. It's not a huge town or anything.
Okay, so does it have a Dollar General?
Probably, yeah.
Casey's.
I'm sure it does. I can't remember going to
all towns that are around that size. Malvern. Okay, is it as big as Malvern?
It's probably bigger than Malvern.
Okay. So. I would see Malvern. I would definitely say it would be a smaller town.
Definitely, yeah. Malvern is definitely a small town. I don't even think Malvern's got 1,000 people. I could be wrong, but I just don't think they do.
I don't really look at the population. I know they've got multiple schools, though. Pretty sure.
So September 10th through September 12th is the Fall into Supernatural event. Come check that out, guys. It's going to be for a good cause. And I might, since it's going to be in September, I might have enough done on my film at that point where I could give us a little sneak peek. Just saying. Just
That's
throwing that out there.
1 month away. You
Yeah.
got this. You got this.
Man, I really want to talk about what I've been doing the last few days, but I can't,
Uh-oh.
and it's driving me crazy.
Well, why did you just mention it?
Because I have to get some part of that off my chest. Like I
I want to talk
something
about it,
was
but I can't talk about it. I'm sorry.
we did something cool that I can't talk about. Just so you guys know, I did something cool.
He wants you to feel special, or he wants you
I
to
do
make
want
him
them to
feel
feel special.
special because he did something special.
I do want them to feel special
Yeah.
because they are special, and you're special.
That's the key word right there.
Anything interesting happen with you this weekend?
Not really. I mean, sadly, but it's been a wild week. Last week was insane. Had a huge golf tournament. Things were great. Just I was tired. I slept like all day yesterday. It was beautiful.
Stayed busy though.
Pretty much. Yeah, oh yeah. Like I slept in quite a bit, and then I felt like complete nothingness. Like just nothing. Not nothingness as in like depressed nothingness, but like I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go do anything. I just wanted to relax.
I started thinking about the 40-year-old virgin.
Wow.
Yeah, all right. Like at the beginning, whenever he's like, "So, what'd you do this weekend?" He's like, not much. For dinner or for lunch, I was craving like this egg parmesan sandwich, and I was like, "Man, I really want one of those." So I went to the store and got all the ingredients, and then I came back home, and then I realized, you know what? I don't really want one of those.
I'm glad that doesn't happen to me. I'm so glad that doesn't happen to me. But on the light side, though, thankfully, I did take my car in today because I thought there was something wrong with it. Turns out everything was just fine, and so I'm good. Everything's fine. So I didn't
I had
have
it.
to pay a ton.
I had it in second gear the whole time. I didn't even know it.
No, so with buying my car, I didn't know Honda's steering is very different compared to a lot of other cars. So if I'm driving straight and the steering wheel is straight too, and a gust of wind kind of hits it, the car will just kind of it'll correct itself. Well, my older cars wouldn't do that. Like it would hit, but it wouldn't be that easily to go. So I was thinking maybe there was something wrong with steering.
The little jerk throw you off.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I took it in, and they looked at everything. Everything was good to go, and here we are.
Good deal.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just glad I didn't have to pay hundreds of dollars to fix something.
Well, good.
That was my hope going into this. I was like, I hope I go up there and they find out that nothing is wrong. That's what I hope for.
All right, so let's jump into this. I know we've just been. So let's jump into this.
Part of the show. That's what I like.
Yeah,
we got to talk about how we've been. Also,
guys.
Yes.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but Ice Nine Kills did drop a new song, and I really think we should react to it.
Okay, we'll do that after this.
Yeah.
So guys, the whole reason you even clicked on this video, and everything is about the exorcisms. And as we're getting into this, real quick, we're at 79 subscribers. If we can get to 100 subscribers by the end of September, we're gonna do something freaking awesome for you guys. We got something special planned if we hit 100.
Huge.
Soon. If we can do it soon.
I'm super pumped. I really like.
Let me just put it this way: we're putting hundreds of dollars behind it.
Yes, we're putting physical, actual money,
actual dollars,
not just like, hey, StreamYard. No, this is actual like.
Yeah, no, like a lot of people are like, oh, we hit 100 subscribers. I'm going to do a cartwheel on the live show.
No, that's no. And it'll also check mark several things that I've been wanting to do for a while now. So I'm really excited.
So get us to 100 subscribers, and we'll have something special planned for you, and it's gonna be like a Halloween thing.
Yeah, literally, like, yeah.
So let's get to 100 subscribers by the end of September. That's 1.5 months.
That's the goal. We can do this. We can do this. The power of the internet is with us.
Yes.
The
All right,
brother.
guys. So do that, and we'll be cool. Tonight we're talking about the original story behind The Exorcist.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of people have seen The Exorcist. It is one of the all-time scariest movies ever put out. I mean, people were fainting, people were, you know, vomiting, getting sick at the theater when this movie came out. It was that impactful because
Yeah.
I believe at that time this wasn't a topic that was really talked about a whole hell of a lot.
It's very sensitive.
Yes. So I'll let you take it away there.
All right. See, it's kind of funny how that is, right? Like now people are like sensitive over the smallest things, but back then it was like people were sensitive over the things that they weren't really exposed to.
Yeah, you know the whole crucifix thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't.
Made it into a movie. You couldn't do that now.
I saw a post the other day. A friend of ours post. He's like, if you have issues with the cartoon character shooting a rabbit as like in a cartoon, why don't you have issues with video games today? Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are ridiculous. All right, so we're gonna be talking about Roland Doe.
Rolling in the dough.
We had an exorcism live. Oh my goodness.
We might, Cassie. Uh, special. You'll
Question
see.
is, who would be the one getting possessed? Dave, I feel like it would be you because you're probably more open to that thing.
Why would it be me? Why wouldn't you just assume that I was already possessed?
That's what I'm saying. You're
You
more
said
open to
who's going
that.
to get possessed? I'm already possessed, probably.
Okay, you can get possessed even more. You can have more spirits inside of you.
Then way more in my.
You don't have to just stop at bourbon. Anyways. Yeah. So,
One bourbon.
yes,
One
like Dave
scotch.
said, this is the original story. This is the story that inspired the movie, well, the book, and then the movie, The Exorcist. So I'm trying to think here what this website is. STMUscholars.org is where the article that I'll be reading from. And
Okay.
it's the Exorcism of Roland Doe. So, in the late 1940s, a boy who was living in a normal life had his fate turned around when he went through several near death experiences. He then endured a nearly 2 month process of exorcisms from several priests for the small mistake he had made. The priests had the priest that had performed these exorcisms gave this 14-year-old boy this pseudonym Roland Doe. What led Roland to this moment? His beloved aunt had given him a Ouija board as a gift and had taught him how to contact with spirits. Mind you, from what I've heard through other readings of this, his aunt was actually a Christian.
No,
She
she
was
was
a
a spiritualist.
she was a spiritualist. I thought she was a spiritual Christian.
No, she was a spiritualist who
Okay.
taught him a bunch of other things as
Okay.
well as how to use the Ouija board.
Then was it his family that was Christian then?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I got mixed up. Sorry. So very interesting that
Sorry,
this
Ronald.
aunt is bringing in all this weirdness into the house, and I'm sure.
Oh, she's
Do you
trying to
think
be the
mom and
cool
dad?
aunt.
Let's see. Do you think mom and dad knew?
Oh, I'm sure.
Really?
They're probably like, oh
Oh,
god,
it's all
bring
BS.
that.
Whatever.
Yeah. You know, a lot
Huh.
of people are like that,
Lo
and
and behold.
she's probably trying to be the cool aunt.
Yeah. Yep.
Doesn't
That's.
have
I
any
mean,
kids of her own because nobody liked her.
yeah. True. So that tells me that they had a special connection, right? Like I
Yeah,
don't know how many siblings or how many aunts or uncles this kid had, but obviously there was a special connection there.
yeah.
So shortly after she had showed him how to do this and speak to spirits, she actually died.
Hmm.
Uh, so Roland was heartbroken about his deceased loved one, decided to contact her from the afterlife. However, he contacted something way worse instead. Being
Who
a
knew when you opened up a door?
right, like being a 14-year-old kid, like how would you know, right?
Yes.
Especially if she didn't really teach him the importance of closing, and she might not have really like done that herself. Like I don't know the full, but if it was an untimely death and it kind of came out of nowhere, maybe it just she didn't have enough time to really teach him enough.
Yeah.
So, um, before being possessed, Roland used the Ouija board. For those of you that don't know, it's a board usually made of wood with alphabets spelled on it, as well as the words yes and no, and it may have the numbers 9 through 0. The board comes with a pointer that the spirits are able to move onto each letter to make words to talk to you. Which, if you guys haven't seen it yet, we actually feature a Ouija board video in our ghost video. Was that 2 episodes ago? Yeah, 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
um, Although it had been rumored that the Ouija board had just appeared out of nowhere, some say the first one was created in Maryland in the 1890s. After many disputes and lawsuits over what this board was in the 1920s, it was decided that it was not a religious device, but simply a board game instead, which is why you have
The
many
Parker
shops.
brothers.
Yes, which is why you have many shops selling it as a board game. Some people have issues with that, some people don't. I get that. I just prefer not to use one because I don't know what I'm doing.
Sissy. Maybe that's what we're gonna do in October. Who knows? We got to get to 100 subscribers before we find out. Can you imagine? Can you imagine though? No, you know what I'm thinking. You know what I'm thinking?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're thinking, and I don't.
Can you imagine?
I mean, I'll do it, but I don't want to do it. Anyways, as long as we get the right practice and we can do the right thing to close it, we'll be fine. Anyways, yet it was still used by mediums as a professional tool to contact spirits, much like a spiritual audio recorder, or much like an audio recorder or dowsing rods, or what's the pendulums. Like you are literally reaching out for something to come into contact with a physical object in our realm. Like it's basically the same thing. Sorry, not sorry. The Ouija board is also a type of seance, which is a French word for session, and this refers to the practice of gathering together as a group to receive messages from ghosts or to listen to spirits. However, in cases that aren't led by professionals, they may lead to possession by demons. Now, I have noticed, though, when you do recording sessions, they're not usually followed up with somebody getting possessed.
True.
Plus, when you're doing stuff with Ouija boards, you're really just... I feel like it's more of a... It's more of a channeling thing. It's more physical on the human part, especially with your...
Yeah, you're using your energy and your
exactly. So you're kind of opening it up to it more, as where with the recording, you're just asking basic questions. Now, if you ask, or if you say like, hey, you can use my energy or this device's energy or what have you, then that kind of opens it up for more interpretation. But as it continues, the teenage boy Roland Doe started getting marks and scratches all over his body while at home, which led his family to realize there was definitely a problem. These scratches ended up turning into words, and the first word happened to be Louis, relating to his worried mother's hometown of St. Louis. So my mind, when I read that automatically, is like, so why did they think that? If they live in Maryland, why did they like, oh, Louis, oh my gosh, that's where I came from. Like,
well, apparently, Roland's mother had relatives in St. Louis.
Okay.
So that's why there was that connection. That's why she immediately thought of, oh, maybe I'm supposed to take him to St. Louis.
Okay. Maybe she still could have been under the interpretation that this was her sister. I think maybe not sister, but like relative was speaking through and causing bodily harm.
So the article I'm looking at, some of the activity that they were also experiencing, besides the scratches on him, was he heard scratching noises coming from the floors and the walls of his room. Water dripped inexplicably from pipes and walls. And most troubling was like his mattress would suddenly move.
Yeah, I do remember, which that went along with the Exorcist stuff. So the family decided, hey, let's go to St. Louis, see what we can do and stay with the family there. Because I'm sure at this point they thought it was the house they were living in. So maybe they also were just like...
And let me just throw this in there real quick, too. They actually, before they moved to St. Louis, they actually tried to get help. And not just like spiritual help. They consulted doctors, psychiatrists, and then they turned to their local ministers. And the minister, who was a Lutheran, suggested that the family seek the assistance of the Jesuits. and that would be where Father Hughes came in.
Yeah, which we'll get to that in a second. um, so once there, the family contacted a medium to talk to this demon that was living in her child. Well, they say demon, but at this point, you don't really know. However, as the medium was conducting a seance, more marks appeared upon his skin. The marks ended up turning into letters again, which bore the words "No School." Upon seeing this, the medium contacted Jesuit priest by the name of Father Raymond Bishop, who happened to be a priest at St. Louis University, to perform a blessing on the possessed child. However, while Bishop was praying to the child, Roland's bed began to shake and tremble, while deep, bloody gashes started appeaing on Roland Doe's chest. After witnessing this event, the priest immediately called upon the Archbishop to perform a full exorcism.
Now, there's another little tidbit that actually happened before. Um, uh, what's his name? The full exorcism before that happened.
Oh, before William.
Yeah.
Darn it. Yeah, I can't think of. I'm trying to think here.
Father Albert Hughes,
Yes.
Albert Hughes, who was the local Catholic priest, asked his superior. This happened before the Jesuits. He asked his superiors permission to perform an exorcism on the boy, and so as he's performing this exorcism, Hughes stopped the rite when Ronald broke off a piece of spring from the mattress that he had been strapped down to.
That's right.
And lashed the priest across his shoulders.
Yep. I did. Yeah, I do remember reading about that in another article.
Which, I mean, if he's going through that much stuff already before the move even to St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
I mean, why? That still makes me wonder. Like, why would they think, oh, the Louis is probably St. Louis?
Maybe they thought it was. Well, no, they wouldn't. Maybe they thought it was the house and thinking that getting the kid away from the house would be good. But as we know today, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
When it comes to possession.
So a cousin of the family was attending St. Louis University at the time of Ronald's struggles. She put the Hunklers, which was their last name. It's not Doe, just so everybody knows. That was a thing given to Ronald in the book. But the Hunklers, she put them in touch with Father Walter H. Halloran and Reverend William Bodern. After consulting with the university's president, these two Jesuits agreed to perform an exorcism on young Ronald with the help of several assistants. The men gathered at the residence on Roanoke Drive in early March of 1949. There, the exorcist witnessed scratching on the boy's body and the mattress moving violently. Those were the same types of things that had happened in Maryland when the first exorcism failed. Amid these bizarre happenings, Bodern and Halloran, according to their reports, noticed a pattern in Ronald's behavior. So he was calm and normal during the day, but at night, after he settled in for bed, he would exhibit these strange behaviors, including screaming and wild outbursts.
Which
so
that goes along with the movie in the book too. Like during the day, everything was okay, but then it just flipped switch once it turned to nighttime.
So Ronald would also enter a trance-like state and start making sounds in guttural voices. In a guttural voice, he could have been a metal singer.
Yeah, exactly.
The priest supposedly also saw mysteriously flying objects in the boy's presence, and noted that he would react violently when he saw any sacred object presented by the attending Jesuits. So objects in the room were levitating. The priest witnessed this. They kept a journal of all this too.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's mostly based off of, is their journals and
Mhm.
their accounts of what all happened.
And at one point during this weeks long ordeal, Bodern reportedly saw an X appear in the scratches on Ronald's chest, which the priest believed signified the number 10, Roman numeral.
Hmm.
And a little side note here, they ended up putting I think it was parchment paper down on the kid's bed. So whenever the scratches would appear, and they would draw blood, whenever the kid's laying on the parchment paper, they would roll the parchment paper over that spot to mark the parchment paper, so they would have a record of what appeared on the kid's body.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that.
it's one of those little side things that doesn't
Huh.
get mentioned. With what I talked to you about before the show
Yeah.
for next week, that's where I learned that.
Ah.
So in another incident, a pitchfork-shaped pattern of red lines moved from the boy's thigh and snaked down towards his ankles. These types of things happened every night for more than a month, and everyone witnessing the events believed that Roland was possessed by 10 demons.
Oof.
So if you're seeing this, I want to know, did he like heal super quick? You know? I mean, if all these scratches are happening, there's going to be scabs and stuff like that if he's healing naturally. But if it's like a supernatural heal where it's like disappearing the next day or something.
Well, I mean, if you think about it this way, from my understanding of exorcism, or not exorcisms, possessions, the demon's there not to kill the vessel. It's there to cause as much pain as possible.
Right.
So they're not wanting to kill the thing straight up. So some of these wounds, I would think that he'd die from loss of blood, or, you
would think.
just malhealth or something, But if, let's say, these demons were healing him supernaturally to keep him alive, to torture him even more, and I'm sure it was causing the family great pain.
Yeah. That's something I'd like to find out. I just want to see I'd like to know if that's in the journals. Like if they mentioned any of that in the journals.
Like they talked about his strange healing, or it was like it had already scarred over, or something like that. Yeah, that would be very interesting to hear or to find out.
So the two priests never gave up as they continued the exorcism night after night after night. On the evening of March 20th, the exorcism reached an unhealthy new level. Ronald urinated all over his bed and began shouting and cursing at the priests. Now, Ronald's parents had had enough. They took him to the Alexian Brothers Hospital in St. Louis for more serious treatment. Finally, on April 18th, a miracle occurred in Ronald's room at Alexian Brothers. It was the Monday after Easter, and Ronald woke with seizures. He yelled at the priest, saying that Satan would always be with him. The priest laid holy relics, crucifixes, medals, and rosaries on the boy. At 10:45 p.m. that evening, the attending priest called on St. Michael to expel Satan from Ronald's body. They shouted at Satan, saying that St. Michael would battle him for Ronald's soul. 7 minutes later, Ronald came out of his trance and simply said, "He's gone." He's gone. The boy recounted how he had a vision that St. Michael vanquished Satan on a great battlefield. There were no more documented instances of strange occurrences and behavior after that, and Ronald went on to live a completely normal life from that moment forward, despite, providing the true story of the Exorcist and, having that memory for the rest of his life, if he has any memory of it, really.
Do you think that was going to be my next question. Do you think he remembers any of it?
I'm sure there's a lot of it he doesn't remember, and they only know about because of the journals, but I'm sure there's glimpses there.
So with everything that they've talked about, I would definitely rule out that it was a kid lashing out from his aunt dying. I would say it was more than that. I couldn't say that was like somebody if they're trying to go from a not supernatural state, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, he was a distressed kid and he did all this for attention, or he didn't know how to process his feelings. I couldn't believe that. There's no way. Of the recounts of what is happening and everything that's happened with the bed and like.
So if we look at it as let's say the kid had like some kind of ability,
Okay.
right? Where you get in such an emotional state, you would levitate objects, move things with your mind, and not even realize that it's happening. The scratches on the body, I don't know if you can make scratches appear like
Out of thin
thinking
air.
about it.
Oh, look, a scratch. Like,
Yeah. Honestly, I can't refute nor prove any of this.
right.
So I mean, like it's an amazing story, and no one would have ever known about the exorcism of Ronald Doe if it wasn't for an article. There was an article that was published in the Washington Post, which reported in, I think it was later in 1949, that the priest had indeed performed an exorcism. And then, of course, in 1971, William Blatty penned the book, The Exorcist.
Right.
And, of course, it was turned into a movie in 53 or 73. But the book stayed on the, this is cool, the book stayed on the bestseller list for 54 weeks.
Wow.
Almost a year.
I wonder how much better the book is compared to the movie.
I don't know. That'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting. Very, very different. The movie did a great job, but
now the hospital. I don't know if you've ever seen The Haunted Boy, the documentary that the Booth brothers did. The hospital is still standing, and in the film, they were actually told that there is a floor, like the elevator doesn't have a button for that floor. There's a secret combination or something like that you have to push, and it'll take you to that floor. But there's a room that's still, somebody is in that room that had something to do with this exorcism. And they believe it's one of the priests that performed the exorcism actually took on the demon.
Oh.
And is locked up there.
Like, okay, the priest physically or spiritually is there?
Physically.
Okay.
Or was.
So when you say took on, as in like enter me?
You remember at the end of The Exorcist where he's like, take me, damn it!
Yeah.
And spirit or the entity possesses him and he jumps out the window. That could be where that whole played from. But a lot of the furniture and stuff like that was from that house during the time of the exorcism and all that, apparently is still at the church, Saint Vincent's. I guess they keep it down in the basement or something like that, or they keep it locked away. This is something that was portrayed in the documentary.
Okay.
So I can't speak on it as 100% certainty, but if all that is true, that's crazy.
That is
now the hospital's still there. It's still open. It's still operable. So
I wonder how many levels.
I don't know. That'd be a good questions to ask somebody. I want to know what you guys think about this particular story. Like, do you believe in this whole exorcism? Do you believe in exorcisms or possession even? Let us know in the comments. The more you guys comment, not just on the live stream, but in the comments down below, the better the algorithms are for us.
Yes, we'll get it out to more people, which means more chance of subscribers. Just saying.
Boost it up.
Yes, please.
But we do want to know. I do want to know. Give me a hell yeah if you believe in possession, and a heavens no if you don't.
Oh, give me a hell yeah. Anyways,
give me a hell yeah.
Hell
And
yeah.
those watching live, you can put it in the live chat too.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
What do you believe, Dave? Do you believe in exorcisms? Do you believe in or do you believe in possession?
I okay, so I have a very analytical mind. You know
Okay.
this. I
Yes.
do like to look on the science side of things, and
People are skeptical. Skeptical.
I do understand the psychological ramifications of um some somebody's going through something tragic,
Oh yeah.
and they don't have a way to put that out there, how to emote that, and that kind of gets bottled up, but they don't know how to deal with that internally. Things could happen outside of their own psyche, like subconsciously they could behave in a certain way or
Mm.
do certain things, causing bodily harm, causing other people harm, just
Yeah.
whatever. Things like that do happen, and then people misdiagnose it as whatever. And if somebody seeing this is super spiritual, their first inclination is to jump towards possession.
Yeah.
Um, I believe there are things out there that could possess us. Um, I don't know if I 100% would follow with the biblical terms and things of
Yeah.
that nature that go in hand with that. But if let's say, to put it in context like this, let's say aliens could use telekinesis or what or telepathy to talk to us in our own mind. Would that be a form of possession?
That's
If they can control your thoughts,
what is that? Channeling? Is that what the term is?
yeah,
Channeling? Like
there's
you could
channeling.
channel to do that or whatever.
Uh, Channeling could be
I
a
think
form of
I was gonna
possession.
say that. I feel like that's a type of possession. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Um,
So, do I think that's a possibility? Absolutely.
well, and there's some people that believe that aliens are demons. They're fallen
Yeah,
angels.
exactly.
You know.
So, I mean, I think it has to be a case by case study.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I've had this conversation with James Long, Bishop Long,
I prefer not
and
to deal with anything malevolent. Just saying, in any cases that I that I've been a part of, any investigations that I've been a part of, that there's any sort of evil spirit, I'd rather not.
um, in
Leave it
my
to
in
professionals.
my conversations with Long, like
Mhm.
even him, he does not jump to the demonic possession
Yeah,
theories. He does look for psychological
I
issues.
was gonna
He's
say
got a background in psychology.
mental health is a real thing,
Yeah,
and it can go a long way. But when someone starts speaking in tongues and languages that they never heard of or really have had the chance to study, or when like beds start shaking and weird things happen, I don't know. There's some things that would make me think, yeah, that's definitely a possession compared to like if someone was acting out or going through a phase,
now
a
I
breakdown.
don't believe like all possessions are demonic.
No,
I
I
do
don't think
believe
I don't think that either.
I do believe other entities could possess, whether it just be for a few minutes or for whatever long. I do believe that they could channel and use people as instruments to communicate.
Wasn't that
Um,
the point of seances? Is
yeah,
the
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 channeling and
the channeler would channel to the spirit and the spirit would speak through them?
yeah.
Yeah, he got possessed for decades. He got possessed for decades. He was possessed for decades, apparently. Every haunted location, it's a demon.
Get out of me, demon. So yeah, I mean, do I believe that this little boy was probably possessed, given the things that were documented or written down in a journal? That journal is out there. If you know the right people, you can read it. Um, but the things that were written down and talked about, if those things actually happened,
Mm,
this was probably a possession.
yeah, it
Very
just
good
seems like a
chance.
textbook like possession to me.
Yeah.
Like going studying certain things. Yeah, just eh.
Now, another possession that's kind of made the rounds is the. I know a lot of people have seen the movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose, um, which was a good movie. I like that's actually one of my favorite
It
exorcism
was really good.
movies.
Yeah,
Just because it wasn't your typical exorcism movie. It was like a court case and everything. Um, but the thing people don't know about that is part of that is based on a true story as well. And like in the courtroom when they're playing the audio tapes of her exorcism, that is the real exorcist or real exorcism that story was based off of. The exorcism of Annalise Michael, or Michel, Mitchell.
Whichever way you want to go with it.
I don't know how to.
I've always heard Annalise Michel.
Michel. Michel. Well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that one too while we're at it.
All right. So
wanna...
I'll just start off. So Annalise grew up devoutly Catholic in Bavaria, West Germany. So that makes sense. The Michel. In the 1960s, where she attended Mass twice a week. When Annalise was 16, she suddenly blacked out at school and began walking around dazed. Though Annalise did not remember the events, her friends and family said that she was in a trance-like state. A year later, Annalise experienced a similar occurrence where she woke up in a trance and wet her bed. Her body also went through a series of convulsions, causing her body to shake. Yeah, right. Causing her body to shake uncontrollably. I'm sure you've done that drunk too. So this is where we'll get into like the original diagnosis and stuff like that. But like just real quick though, it took them a year to realize there was something wrong with her. Like,
oh, that's just it. That's just Annalise. She's just fooling
walks
around
and stares and
that's what she does. That's what she does. She just convulses and stares at stuff.
Was she normal at church? Would she do the same thing at church? Like,
well, I mean, anytime I went to church, I always just kind of.
Okay, well, that's fair, but I'm just saying, like, was she her normal self? Was she different? Like,
I don't know.
Because this
did she ever act out at church and stuff like that?
Yeah. Like, did she physically? Well, and that's also where it comes from. Did whatever this was that had latched it onto her? Was it like did she come in contact with an object? Did she use like a Ouija board? Did she like how did this happen? But I digress. So after the second time, Annalise visited a neurologist who diagnosed her with a temporal lobe epilepsy, a disorder that causes seizures, loss of memory, and experiencing visual and auditory hallucinations.
Yeah. Didn't even need drugs.
No, didn't. Yeah, at all. Temporal lobe epilepsy can also cause Geschwind syndrome. I'm pretty sure I butchered that, but we'll go with it. A disorder marked by hyperreligiosity. Yeah. After her diagnosis, Annalise began taking medication for her epilepsy and enrolled in the University of Würzburg in 1973. However, the drugs she was given failed to help her, and as the year progressed, her condition began to deteriorate. Though she was still taking her medication, Annalise began to believe that she was possessed by a demon and that she needed to find a solution outside of medicine. Like, let me just real quick. She's a devout Catholic, or they grew up as a devout Catholic. How did it take her, I would say, or take the family almost 10 years, and they thought it was just like a mental disorder? Like, didn't they grow up with possessions and stories of that in the book?
Well, after the medication failed her, do you think she's become an anti-vaxxer?
Maybe. I mean, but I wouldn't say the medication was a vaccine.
I'm just kidding. I'm teasing.
That's fair. I just, like, she even said, like, okay, so here we go. She began to see the face of the devil wherever she went and said she heard demons whispering in her ears. When she heard demons telling her she was damned and would rot in hell while she was praying, she concluded that the devil must be possessing her. Really? You finally, like, so maybe the medication was helping something, like, was, like, keeping it, like, suppressed a little bit, and then eventually it just, like, the virus, got around it.
If she's experiencing, like, seeing the faces of the devil and hearing voices,
I guess that's part of the hallucinations.
Yeah. So I wouldn't, maybe that's not maybe it was a misdiagnosis on the temporal lobe thing,
Maybe.
because I know in the movie that whole thing, that whole temporal lobe epilepsy, that's brought up in the court case, like a lot.
Yeah, but then
But
they bring up certain things that kind of like take that away.
I mean, like, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, and I don't know
Well, I'm sure
if there's
scientists
some
isn't
there's
going
got
to
to be
go
something
towards.
else.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure scientists though they're not going to see it from a spiritual sense. They're going to see it from a there's something mentally wrong with you sense. So
Yeah,
we're going to try to treat this with medicine and science compared
we
to
also we also have to understand this is back in the early 70s,
yeah,
so
70s.
our psychology was just really starting to take off at that
Yeah,
point. Um, the
yeah,
whole therapists and psychiatrists and stuff like that wasn't really popular or anything like that back then. It was still picking up steam. So the diagnosis that they would have given, they weren't 100% sure. You know?
yeah, absolutely. Like, and did you want to talk about
Yeah, I got it.
the strange behavior?
Yeah. Um, so Annalise, outside of the medical practice, she sought out priests to help her with this demonic possession that she believed she was under. But all the clergy that she approached rejected her requests, saying that she should seek medical help and that they needed the permission of a bishop anyways. So at this point, Annalise's delusions had become extreme. So, believing she was possessed, she ripped off the clothes off of her body, compulsively performed up to 400 squats a day, crawled under a table, and barked like a dog for 2 days. She also ate spiders and coal, bit the head off a dead bird, and licked her own urine from the floor. Finally, she and her mother found a priest, Ernest Alt, who believed in her possession. He stated that she didn't look like an epileptic in later court documents. He's the one that I think went to court over all this.
Yeah.
So Annalise wrote to Alt. She said, "I am nothing. Everything about me is vanity. What should I do? I have to improve. You pray for me." And also once told him, "I want to suffer for other people, but this is so cruel." So Alt petitioned the local bishop, Bishop Joseph Stengel, who eventually approved the request and granted a local priest, Arnold Renz, permission to perform an exorcism, but ordered that it be carried out in total secrecy.
So, real quick on that too. There was something I was going to add to it. Darn it. Not looking like an epileptic.
She didn't.
Yeah, like seeing the pictures of her, there's no way. And biting heads off of animals and acting crazy like that's
That's one
obviously
thing.
yeah, that's one thing.
But
But her case is so unique. It's ridiculous.
so
Uh
before you get in, I think maybe before you get into this, we should show the extent of how
yeah.
she's changed.
So with that, it's a little graphic. Well, I say a little.
It's a little graphic, a little disturbing
Yes. We should show
if
a
you're not
picture of
used to
what she
this.
looked like before. Does it show a picture of what she looked like normally?
Yeah, it'll show before,
Okay,
after.
good.
It'll show a bunch of photos. You guys will get to see like how she looked, and then you're also going to hear how she sounded, and
Yeah.
then she's also going. She also believed that there were several demons possessing her, as well. Hitler being one of them. Cain was another one. I can't remember the other ones, but they list them in this thing. But we're gonna play a video for you guys with the audio of Annalise Michel. The first bit of audio is her before the possession, or before the exorcism, and then the rest is her after as she's possessed and all that good stuff. So again, we want to pre-warn everybody. This might be a little disturbing if you're not used to this kind of thing. But here we go. Annalise Michel.
Ja, ich will auch für die anderen leiden, damit die nicht in die Hölle kommen und so. Aber dass das dann so schlimm ist und so grausam und so furchtbar, nee.
She was pretty back then,
you know. Das ist so
Normal, healthy.
Wenn es dann wirklich schlimm wird, da will man überhaupt nicht mehr, da will mein Kind schlimm.
Nein, mir Klötze. Und der Maul mir Klötze. Oh, so der will auch nicht. Oh, ich geh auch nicht. Oh.
Sind wir schon 3?
Ah, wie. Was ist so eine Scheiße?
Kind Gottes.
Ich hab dein Maul erschlagen.
Ruhe gibt's nur dort, wo die Liebe ist.
Ja, bei uns gibt's nur
Nur Hass.
Ja,
Und wo nur Hass ist, da gibt's keine Ruhe.
nein. Und für uns gibt's nie Ruhe. Nie.
Weil
In der Ewigkeit.
It's insane, man.
Dude, like just the sheer, so many tones happening at one time.
Older recordings are always creepy.
Die müssen in eigenen Seminaren ausgebildet werden, die dürfen nicht auf die anderen Universitäten.
It almost sounds like audio that you would play backwards. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you snack.
Oh, weil das, weil.
weil der Teufel größere Macht.
Almost sounding like Tibetan throat singing.
Im Namen deines seligen Jungfrau, im Namen Jesu, befehle ich dir auszufahren. Im Namen des dreifaltigen Gottes, des Vaters, im Namen des dreifaltigen Geistes, befehle ich dir auszufahren und nicht.
So they were singing to her there for a second. That's
Were
kinda
they?
creepy in itself. That's what it sounded like.
Or
it
was
sounded
that
like.
coming from her?
I don't know. Some multiple voices coming out at once.
Yeah, that's I mean that's
So
pretty
creepy.
insane stuff.
It's I would definitely say that's not epilepsy. And yeah, this is it's such an intense case.
Pull yourself together there, bro. Have you never listened to that whole thing?
No, I have
Okay.
when I did some of Bishop Long's demonology course. That was there was audios of it, and I remember the first time I heard it, I was just blown away.
Right.
Like hearing hearing her normal voice, her normal recording, and then the voices that followed was just like completely different, like completely different person. Like,
Yeah.
uh, anyways, yeah, it's that one's rough, and
Yeah.
it just that tells me that you got to be careful. You really got to be careful with certain things. Like, her thing is she didn't. How was she supposed to stop it? How was she supposed to know? She went and tried to get help from multiple things, and they turned her
multiple
down.
sources.
Yeah, they turned her down and said that she needs medication. It's like,
Now the bruising, like the discoloration in the photos and stuff, like the bruising, I wonder like if that wasn't from her being restrained, or if that wasn't from like the convulsions that she
yeah,
went
I
through.
would say both. Like probably some self harm, and especially around the eyes when you. Okay, so in certain victims when they go through a lot of trauma, um, and they go through a lot of like what is it called? Not frustration, but like just with the way that she sounded in her voice and everything, with using her voice constantly and just like
Think maybe she broke some blood vessels.
yeah, like yes,
training.
thank you, yes, that whole thing, because when you do get angry and when you're upset stuff, you feel your face like just
Get flushed and
get super flushed. Well, eventually around your eyes, that's a pretty weak spot, and that's usually the good like that's one of the first places that it's going to happen. So it's not a surprise to me. Like, and you saw how her nose was pretty cherry red too in that same picture.
yeah.
So it's just like that. I'm not surprised with how much.
There's one of the pictures. It
And
looked like the discoloration. It was darker around the eyes and on her nose, but
oh
there's
yeah,
off to the side of her head here too. Like
Yeah.
it was discolored too. But I don't
Yeah.
know if that was shadows or if that was actual
With-
discoloration of her skin. But it's what it looked like.
with the convulsions and the constant like I'm sure she messed herself up. But there is more to this case.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and continue it real quick?
All right. So this is why. Oh no, shoot, not that part. So over the next 10 months following the bishop's approval of Annalise's exorcism, Alt and Renz conducted 67 exorcisms, lasting up to 4 hours on her. Though
Each.
each. Though
Yeah.
these sessions, Annalise revealed that she believes she was possessed by the 6 voices that we'd heard. Which, that tells me that Hitler's dead, but I digress.
Yeah.
Because of our previous video.
Well,
But
it's
maybe
1973, so
exactly. All these spirits would she could have died by then. All these spirits would jostle for power of Annalise's body and would communicate with her mouth with a low growl, as we heard through here. The demons argued with each other, with Hitler saying people are stupid as pigs. They think it's all over after death. It goes on. And Judas saying Hitler was nothing but a big mouth who had no real say in hell. Throughout these sessions, Annalise would frequently talk about dying to atone for the wayward youth of the day and the apostate priests of the modern church. So that was what I was going to talk about earlier. You had mentioned that where she, or thought that you had mentioned that where she thought that she would rather suffer to take on,
yeah.
like instead of other people suffering. And I was like, that's a very interesting thing to think about. Like, where did that kind of come from?
Like it sounds like being a martyr. It's like being a martyr for
Yeah.
people, or being like how Jesus died for everybody's sins. She wanted to suffer
Yeah.
for other people so they didn't suffer.
Yeah.
Same
and
thing.
So in prayer, she broke the bones and ribs, she broke the bones and ribbed the tendons in her knees from continually kneeling in prayer. Over these 10 months, Annalise was frequently restrained so the priest can conduct the exorcism rites. She slowly stopped eating, and she would eventually die of malnutrition and dehydration on July 1st, 1976. she was 23 years old.
That's
So
insane.
it's so sad. And I mean, so with my thing too is in the other case, the boy fought it, the demon left him, right?
Yeah.
In this, she thought she was being not, I'm not going to say martyr necessarily, but she was sacrificing herself so others wouldn't suffer.
But they were still performing the rites on her. Do you
Right.
think maybe that these priests weren't fit or capable to handle such a case? Because the church did say keep it secret that you're even doing it. And then also the church was denying an exorcism for a long period of time there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The church was very secretive about exorcisms. They didn't want the notion of demons or entities.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like the
This
church,
case,
yeah, this case in particular, they were denying her to get an extra. She kept coming to the church for an exorcism. They kept denying it, and the bishop even denied it. And up until a certain point, then he finally said, "Okay, you guys do the exorcism and keep it secret."
I would say if she continually prayed through this, I would be curious of what she was praying for. If she was praying for strength or to help, yeah, obviously get rid of this thing, but to like maybe save others, because it kind of sounds like to me she wasn't trying to get the spirits out of her body. She was
Right.
trying to keep them in there to sacrifice herself to keep them from going to other people. So she was
Right.
in that sense acting as a martyr, which then would just make sense that she would just die from malnutrition because whatever was in her wouldn't let her eat, wouldn't let her drink. They were like, we need to get out. What's the best way to get out? We're going to kill this chick. We're going to kill her some. So that's what it says to me is she sacrificed herself to do this and that she wasn't trying to get them out. Now, obviously the movie portrays a different kind of story, but yeah,
Well, she did go to get an exorcism done.
well, beforehand though.
Yeah.
Later on.
I think towards the end she was probably like wanting to do be a martyr and everything, but like she initially did want to get them out, and they did perform 67 exorcisms.
Yeah.
67 rites on her. So
maybe eventually she just learned to live with it and was just like, you know what, if this is me, this is me. I can't really like, and then so she didn't really have that want or fight to get it out. You know.
And again, were the priests fit to conduct the exorcism? Did they have the knowledge to do so?
Yeah.
And that's where it all comes into question. I do believe it became a court case and all that, and that's where the whole film, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, also took it. Did become a court case and all that. I don't remember the ruling on it, but yeah, I mean,
I do want to talk about a little bit of after the case, though.
Go ahead.
So after her death, Annalise's story became a national sensation in Germany after her parents and the two priests who conducted the exorcism were charged with negligent homicide. Wow.
Yep.
They came before the court and even used a recording of the exorcism to try to justify their actions. The two priests were found guilty of manslaughter resulting in negligence and were sentenced to 6 months in prison, which was later suspended, and the 3-year probation. The parents were exempted from the punishment as they had suffered enough, a criteria for sentencing in German law. Like, my gosh. Like, the whole, like, I'm wondering if the audios actually did sway a little bit, you know?
I mean, I'm sure people
like, oh yeah, we have to charge them for something, but this is really weird.
Yeah, this is pretty messed up.
Yeah.
I think at that time, back in the 70s, I mean, audio like that would scare the hell out. Think about the movie The Exorcist and how that affected people just seeing that. But whenever you hear an audio piece that is legitimate audio from an exorcism, you're like, okay, so this was an actual thing that occurred? Fuck that.
No thanks.
Yeah, I think that's scarier than a movie's portrayal.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's why hearing that audio shook me the first time that I heard it. I was just like, oh, God. Like, yeah, anyways.
So yeah, I mean, the original audio probably, like you said, did sway them because I'm sure it frightened them. And They're like, "Oh, they did the right thing." That's probably what they said.
They did the right thing, but we're gonna have to still do something. And
we're gonna
not
charge you with something.
Yeah, but thankfully
Yeah.
the parents were, it was fine and it was good to go. So they charged the priest, which I'm wondering if the priests were like, no, it'll be fine. Take care, like do it to us, since you've suffered so much, kind of thing. But you never know. It was, oof, man, her case is so unique and weird. Now I don't know if it touched on this, and I can't remember if this is true, but I know the movie portrayed her as like contortioning herself and like doing weird like shit.
That was the actual actress too. It wasn't a stunt
yeah.
double or nothing like that.
Freaking weird, dude. She took her finger and went. I'm like, oh, like it just totally caught me off guard. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for any of that scene. Shook me down. But no, it's a heavy one. That's a heavy topic of discussion.
Give me just a second. I'm doing something real quick.
Okay. What do y'all think? What do you think of the Annalise case? It's one of the most intense cases I would say it's probably one of the most intense cases actually documented that's out there. And it wasn't even like a full-on like investigation documentation. It was just the priests going there to record some things. It wasn't a full-on, it just like I'm sure there's more out there that don't get talked about. But
here's a quick poll too. Which film do you think not only portrayed the exorcisms better, but which film do you think was the better exorcism film? I mean, you have the original Exorcist, which by a lot of people is voted the scariest movie of all time. Then you have the Exorcism of Emily Rose, which is a completely different type of movie that you would expect over this subject.
Yeah.
Both representing a true story. Which one do you believe? I don't know. Maybe I don't want to say more accurately represented the exorcism of each story, but like which one do you prefer? The Exorcist or the Exorcism of Emily Rose? Leave it in the comments. Let us know what you think. Guys, that's all we're going to talk about tonight as far as the exorcisms go. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the audio. Next week, we're going to try to bring somebody on special to kind of go in hand with this. I'm waiting for a response. So we're not going to say what we're going to do next week because right now we don't know. It's up in the air. But whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to be good.
Yes.
So, Charles, you have anything else you want to say before we jump off of here?
No, I'm good. That was solid.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you all for watching. Let's get to 80, or let's get to 100 subs. I mean, we can get to 80 tonight. That'd be great. But let's get to 100 subs. All right. Share the crap out of our channel. Share the crap out of this episode. Share the crap out of our Facebook page. Share the crap out of our Twitter page. If you haven't followed us on Twitter, go ahead and follow us on Twitter. If you go to the main YouTube channel page, there's a Twitter link up on the banner. So get us to 100 subs and we'll have something special coming to you in October. Oh yeah. Charles is going to play with the Ouija board. All by himself.
I haven't agreed to anything yet, so we'll see.
100 subs. That's not what we're going to do. I'm just teasing. I mean, could happen. It could happen, Charles.
Somebody from Live Sci-Fi, so I'm just saying.
Right. No planchette. Just use your hand.
Did you see it move?
Just use your hand. Don't use a planchette.
Put this gas mask on.
Do blind people use their hands and have like a braille Ouija board?
Maybe, and like if you went across it and said, "Don't touch this," how would their reaction be?
Can you? I'm just thinking like a Ouija board in braille. You can't use a planchette. You have to use your fingers, and then you'd have to have somebody.
You'd have to have somebody there. Like it would move and be like, "Okay, what's this on top of?" In like,
and it moved again. What are we at?
Yeah, The yes and no would be easy though.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure it would be. Anyway, those are our thoughts.
Plus, I don't know if blind people really mess with Ouija boards, but hey, maybe they do. I don't
I
know.
mean, what's the worst that could happen?
A lot of things,
I
actually.
can see. Oh crap, a demon!
Yeah, like that's the only thing and last thing you'll see.
We're ridiculous.
Yeah, we're bad. It's okay.
All right, guys, we're signing off. Get off here.
Have a good night. Bye.
Peace, love, and exorcisms.